Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back for another video. In today's video, I want to ask the question about Bitcoin. Is the bottom behind us? All right. So if you like this content, smash up that like button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment in the comment section. And listen, I'm not going to relax. I'm not going to say that 17,500 and change was the bottom, not until a certain price point, and I'll get into that later. But what I do want to say quite simply is this. When you're looking at this chart, this is a daily chart. This is what a bottom looks like. And what I really want to point out here is the psychology of seeing Bitcoin go down to $17,500 on a Saturday afternoon, which was crazy because, you know, volume is very low on weekends usually, but $17,500. If you remember that moment, everyone was freaking out. Everyone was more bearish. Everyone was so certain that we were going down to what? $12,000, $15,000, some calls for sub 10,000, and we start, 17,500. That was the bottom at that time, and time will tell if we're going to go lower. But I mean, think about the psychology throughout these last several days and weeks. We have about a month now of not going below that $17,500 level. And for sure, what we're seeing is still, I would say, a decent amount of calls for $12,000, sub $10,000 Bitcoin. And what I want to point out is simply that this is how it works. Okay, there's no such thing as a fearless bottom buy, and there's no such thing as timing the bottom. I remember 2018. This is a weekly chart. In December of 2018, going into 2019, there were certainly calls. We bottomed out at $3,000, and there were certainly calls for $1,200 Bitcoin. Okay, and we didn't get anywhere near there. You know who was bullish at this moment when we got down to $3,000? It was pretty much nobody, even though it bottomed out. But yeah. Okay, is this time different? We've got to ask ourselves that question given macroeconomic uncertainties. But if you just get rid of all that noise and just look at the data, we have bottomed out. I would say that very declaratively. But again, the whole time, there was so much uncertainty. Even this green candle here. Even this, because here's the thing that I want to point out. The moment that I'm waiting for is, let me draw a fib level from about here to the bottom. Where's that bottom? Right about there. So what I'm trying to pay attention to is the 786. That's a very crudely drawn level. So we got right up to the 618. From this, the level that we were before we dumped in 2018, we got right up to the 618, and look, we spent about 5 weeks there. And so that's about the level that I'm looking for this time around to determine, all right, if we break through this level and the 786, we didn't spend nearly as much time there, but if we break through these levels, then it's over. And as of right now, we are nowhere near those levels. Okay, we're nowhere near that. Let me go back to this chart and draw a fib here. We are nowhere near. I'm going to draw it from here to the bottom at 17.5, and we're about at, what is that, the 0.5. So 618 is 25,447 or so, and a lot of people have their eyes on the 786, which is 27,600, about $28,000. We break through these levels, then in my opinion, the bottom will have been $17,500, but we could certainly get rejected at the 0.5 level, go right back down. I have been asked so many times, Alex, do you think that we have reached the bottom, or do you think it's ahead of us? And my opinion still is that we will, if we have not reached the bottom, that we will reach it within the next month, and then that'll be it for the bear market bottom. And so personally, in my opinion, this is not financial advice, I would just be buying at these levels pretty much all right now. I am getting a family member into crypto for the first time ever, and I bought her some Bitcoin at $20,000. I'm going to buy her some more once funds clear and all that. I have no problem, even at 23,800, which is higher than we've been in several weeks. I have no problem just putting it in right now and waiting and seeing what happens. This could move quickly. I also want to point that out because we have spent so little time here. Look at how quick this dump was. And I've been saying this on my channel. There's just air between, in the mid 20s, between like 23,000 and 27,000. And this dump did not surprise me at all, just how quickly we moved through it. That was all in a day. Now, I'm going to pull up the all-time chart here because I want to point out, again, when we broke through $20,000 in December of 2020, we just blew through the 20s. All right, so we have spent only really a matter of days in the mid 20s. There's very few levels here. Okay, there's very few levels. There's very little interaction. There's no way, because you got to think, all right, I bought Bitcoin at $24,000. I'm done with it. I just want to get out. There's very few people with that mentality. Now, there's a lot of interaction right at $20,000. There's a lot of interaction right at $30,000. And so it's possible that we could soon be seeing a test of this 618 level and the 786. That could happen very soon. The next Fed meeting is 7 days away. Maybe that would be around the time when we see the Fed raise interest rates by 75 basis points, if we do, and not 100. So we just got to wait and see. 66.8% chance, according to the CME FedWatch tool, that we will see a 75 basis point increase. A lower chance that'd be a 100 basis point increase. I'm getting to the point where I'm not sure. Yeah, that would have some short-term pain if they decided a 100 basis point increase. But I'm at the point where I'm not sure it's going to make a huge difference because I think people have become pretty convinced, the smart money at least, that inflation has topped at 9.1%. And especially because of the fact it doesn't look so significant on this chart, because I did want to point out some things here, but the reaction to the 9.1% interest rate, or not interest rate, CPI number is unique this time around. I mean, last month when we saw those high figures and the month before, the DXY just rallied and it continued to reach new highs. This time around, we're seeing 9.1, and I think a lot of people are looking around at economic factors and seeing the numbers and everything, and oh my goodness. All right, sorry, I got a text from my wife. And they are seeing, yeah, it seems like inflation's cooling off. So anyway, what does that mean? That means that I think people are about ready to go risk on. Now, there's something very important I want to talk about. So stick around, because there are two different hypotheses running through my head, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about this in the comment section. And so this is why I have this DXY chart. I've talked about this several times. I'm going to talk about it again. Look at the peak here. Look at the peaks for the DXY. December of 2016 bottomed out in January, February-ish of 2018, and what coincided with that was a huge rally from about a $1,000 Bitcoin until here, which was about the peak of alt season. And then we have, again, March of 2020, the COVID crash. Bitcoin went down to $3,000. And from March of 2020 to May of 2021, we saw Bitcoin go, in between, it was actually April or so of 2021, we saw Bitcoin go from $3,000 all the way up to $64,900. This is kind of the fuel that we have seen that is the driver of a major bull run in crypto. And so I have been challenging lately this idea that we have one major bull run in a 4-year cycle. And again, I don't want to be a hopium dealer, but I'm wrestling through two specific potential thoughts here. One is that, all right, let's just say we range in this area, maybe we inch a little bit down until what, 2020, late 2023, early 2024. Then we're not going to see anything spectacular happen with the crypto market. We're just not. It's over. Pack your bags. See you in 2024. But if we see a reversal, we see some kind of hard reversal, because I mean, really, this run in the DXY looks a lot like a Bitcoin parabolic run. We see something going down. We go back down to the lower 90s. I want to say this, and again, we've got to wait and see how afraid people are going to be over the next year or so. But if the DXY went back down to 90, Bitcoin will put in a new all-time high, irrespective of the next halving, whether it's before the next halving or not. I'm very confident of that. So the reason why I'm saying this is that we're seeing alts do pretty well right now. I mean, looking at this all-time chart, it doesn't look that great, but that is a sharp rise for the price of Ethereum. I mean, you're seeing from the bottom, when Ethereum bottomed out at under $1,000 to where it is today, you're seeing a 60% rise. You look at Polygon has tripled about since its bottom. And so what is going on? Well, here's theory number 2. I mean, personally, I would not be touching Ethereum and Polygon right now at $1,600 and at 92 cents. I would wait for some kind of a dip if I were interested in getting back in here. But I want to point this out. Here's 2018, December of 2018, Ethereum bottomed out at, I think, $83. Over the next several months, it quadrupled. It almost quadrupled. And so looking at the chart, it really doesn't look all that significant. All right, you see that it's like, oh yeah, it just looks like it flatlined, but no, it almost quadrupled over a span of 6 or 7 months, and then it went right back down. Eventually, it didn't go all the way down to $83, but it did go. It just pretty much flatlined throughout the bear market. Buying it at $83, that would have been a wonderful time to buy. But personally, I would have just rather have bought somewhere around here, June of 2020 at $229. I mean, and that sounds really greedy of me as I'm saying that. Who knows? Maybe I need to weigh that out some more. But I mean, so we're seeing Ethereum as it is right now pumping like this, and maybe this is just a season in what's going to be more of a flat line. Maybe not as much for Ethereum because we have ETH 2.0 coming out. So then we look at Polygon and we see this same kind of pump, and maybe it's the same thing. But if we are going to see the DXY rally from, do a reverse rally, whatever you want to call it, from 108, 109, all the way down to 90, that is people going risk on. And so altcoins are going to do very well. They're going to do very well, and we're not going to see the kind of flat line that we saw with Ethereum, with Cardano, with Doge. This bear market could end very quickly. Okay, so those are two very different extremes. Is this just a part of a greater flat line, or are we primed for a big reversal in the DXY? We're going to have to wait and see. The big thing that I'm waiting for is this is going to take course over a couple months. And what happens when the Fed pivots? And when they pivot, again, that doesn't mean that they're going to start lowering rates again. What that means, it's just going to flatline. We're just going to see rates stick around, maybe 3.5 for a couple months, and then they'll turn dovish. And what happens with the DXY? When that happens, people, I believe the DXY is going to dump really hard, and people will go risk on for a while. But then, who knows what the damage of all this, what a recession looks like. I personally don't think we're going to enter into a depression. I've been clear about that. I have been dark for a long time, and I am very dark for some point in the future. I don't think that point is now or in the near future, because time moves by very quickly. So anyway, if you're able to process all that information just where I am right now, I would love to hear your thoughts. But I do want to be clear. Don't expect a typical bear market. I think there's something out of whack with how we understand cycles. We have this burned into our heads a little too much, that we have one parabolic run in a 4-year cycle, and then it's just boring and miserable until the next halving for Bitcoin. And I mean, look at the DXY. If the DXY does something like this, then yeah, but the DXY does not have to obey Bitcoin's rules. The supposed rules. We see wild swings in the DXY. Like if you're following my mouse right here, then the cryptocurrency market is also going to be wild, and we will have bear market, bull market, bear market, bull market, bear market, bull market, all within a 4-year span. We can certainly do that. And that might be what's coming. It's on the table as a possibility. Or maybe there's just the DXY is just going to kind of crab along like it did here in 2019. Be prepared for every potential scenario. And if we see the signs, then let's get ready to rumble. But I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Smash up that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I will see you in another video. Peace.